The latest Social Weather Station survey says 1 in every 11 Filipino Catholics sometimes considers leaving the church. And joining us in the studio is Father Francis Lucas, Executive Secretary of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, Commission on Social Communication. Father Francis, thanks for joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Jing.
1 out of 11 want to leave the Catholic Church. Why do you think so?
Well, there's nothing new in that.
Really?
There are about 33,000 Protestant denominations today.
Okay.
Now, with regards to the why, there's a myriad of reasons here
Okay.
for them to leave.
Yeah.
The most important message of the Catholics is the message of the cross. And that is very vital.
Okay.
So in case you're not happy with your religion, in case your will is not followed, there's a discipline, there's a code of conduct, there are principles of your faith, then if you're unhappy, then you leave. But to my amazement, if you look at the survey itself, there is a seesaw, fluctuation from year to year of the membership of the Catholic Church.
Okay.
That means some return. After they realize, oh, nagkamali yata ako sa pag-alis sa religion. So I think it's all personal reasons. And but for me, the most important part is many who leave either of two reasons. One, they see that the Catholic faith is somehow diluted because of modernism, modern trends, popularity. And second is if they cannot get what they want. So these are usually the two reasons. So, but then the most important part is, do they really accept the cross? Because the cross means love, and love means cross, and that's the same as Christ. So you cannot go to the resurrection without the cross, without the death, without the suffering or the sacrifice. So this is one of the things that oftentimes people cannot really accept in the Catholic faith.
Do you think that the message is lost in the cacophony of modern day life?
Yes, in more sense than one. That's why the Pope keep on harping on the tsunami, that's the term used, of secularism and relativism in the world. That really punishes the soul, that that destroys the mind and forgets about the faith. Especially today, that a human person thinks he's the most powerful.
Yes.
Sometimes even among the clergy, I mean, that has to be checked. We have to go back to the origin, the original, I say, not the conservatism, but the original of the Catholic faith shown by Christ himself. Because there are three things very important in the Catholic Church. First is the Bible. Second is tradition. Because even the end of John's Gospel says, there are many things that happened but are not written in this book. And third is the magisterium of the church, the teaching authority of the church who guides the faithful. So these are three key matters based on our faith. So if you do not agree with any of the three, then you leave.
But how do you do something about something like that? How do you operationalize a philosophy such as that?
Even before the survey, the church has done a lot. In 1991, we came up with the second Plenary Council of the Philippines, where a roadmap was supposed to be followed. This year, we have the Year of Faith, proclaimed by the Pope himself, Benedict XVI, to be implemented now by Pope Francis. And then also the new evangelization. And for me, this is very crucial, the new evangelization. That you go back to the original message of Christ, and the way you promote it has changed. It's not the doctrine that changed, it's how you promote it. You have to study the new psychology, the new way of doing things, and the new language and the new culture. That's very clear in the synods, the documents coming from the synods. The synod is the meeting of bishops that they evaluate the world and they evaluate the Catholic Church.
Okay, looks fine and good on the policy level, no? But how do you bring that down to the small parish church in a small barrio in this country? What message or what program are you putting on the ground so the Catholics won't leave the faith, or the Catholics who have left will come back, or the Catholics who are there will stay? How will you do that?
Even the CBCP has accepted this term. In the Philippines, we have so many baptized, but they're not properly evangelized.
Okay.
For many reasons. So the main strategy of the Catholic Church, which has been done since 1991, is what we call the basic ecclesial communities. And now we're also trying to promote this using media. But more so, we don't call things anymore as training, because training is just the tools. But we prefer more to look into communication theology. That means social communication, how we communicate with each other, starting from the personal basis, and that is the content when you go to media as tools.
Yeah.
So you go to the different communities, and priests, I remember, because I already have white hairs, but when I was much younger, we were formed to really go to the villages.
Right.
I used to stay in the village, sleep there. If it's far, I go home at 12 o'clock midnight, because the only time you talk with the farmers is at night. You don't talk to them in the early morning. So these are the things that being done by the church today. How it's being done is incumbent upon the bishops in their own dioceses and the priests, who are his arms and tentacles in a diocese. But last but not the least, I also see the importance of the lay people. That's why we have a lot of movements today of lay Catholics, including the white vote.
Correct.
So it's incumbent upon them to do that.
As a final question, Father, in the next 5 years or so, where do you see Catholics going in this country, in the face of everything, in the face of the cacophony of stimulus from the outside, the modern world, in the face of options, other faiths, other ways of talking and communing with your God, whoever your God is? What is the Catholic Church going to be under the new Pope in the next 5 years, especially in the Philippines?
I believe in two things. First is the volume of members is not the issue, it's the quality of members. That's one.
Okay.
Because it's not a beauty contest. That's a more popular religion in the Philippines.
Okay.
But number two is, I think that there is a new springtime in the Catholic Church all over the world, including the Philippines. And in this sense, there might be a moral persecution. But I also see that the church bloomed in membership and in depth when they were persecuted. When it's easygoing, then you lose the importance of your faith and the identity that you have to protect so that others may be served. Because the Catholic Church does not only serve its members, no. Especially what the popes have been saying, we serve humanity itself to be the inspiration. So that I see that there is a new springtime event for the Philippine Church.
One, final na lang talaga.
Okay.
Do you think the church should be less politicized?
Well, the meaning of politicize is very, very nebulous.
Dabbling in local politics, in Philippine politics.
For me, there's even church politics, there's government politics. It's all a matter of governance. So what I'm saying is, the Catholic Church, a CBCP conference, do not endorse candidates. They just give guidelines. And as far as I can remember, especially for the elections, that's also my question, one of my thoughts about the survey. It's called pre-election survey. What's the objective? Anyway, that's beside the point.
But the church has been very political in the past year.
Political
RH
in what
bill,
sense? Well, that's what I'd like to explain. As priests and as church, you have principles. You have to protect those principles and laws. Tamper with principles and your beliefs. Oh, let's face that. A law of the land is tampering on your beliefs. So you have to express your belief. It's not because it's popular, it's the law, everything is fine. No. You have to keep your identity because you're protecting this for a purpose. Like the value of life. So the bill itself, if you look at it, that's not for me the main issue. It's the thought, it's the culture that's being promoted by this kind of thought. So for me, that is not political. That is very, it tampers with, it involves faith. It involves faith, my culture, my ethics, my life.
Okay, Father, thanks for your time, Father Francis. Thanks for coming to the studio. Very interesting talking to you this morning.
Welcome, Jing.